Wow. Wow. Wow.
Main phase.
Oh, hello and good evening, everybody, and welcome to what will be the last of the Just June streams because it is the end of June. I didn't really notice it was creeping up on us that quickly, but yes. So I've been preparing this one for a while. It was delayed the other day for reasons that I'd rather not go into here. But if you followed the Twitter or the comments on YouTube that I posted, then you'll know why I delayed it. But this is the stream that I was going to do then, and it's the angled isometric one where I've picked a bunch of games that have a slight tilt to them. Things like Cubert that you can see running in the corner there. In fact, because this is all flipped in here, but down there, Cubert, you've got that's close to isometric. None of these are strictly isometric because isometric in computer terms is not as easy to do as what you see here. Some of the other games I'll look at will have a more of a slight tilt to them, not really isometric or anything like it. But typically if up isn't up and down isn't down, they go slightly up left, slightly down right or whatever, then I'll probably have a look at them. So, hello to everybody. Let's have a look at who is already in the chat. We have a Carlo joining early, so hey Carlo, and we have the Ogre. The Ogre is one of our regulars, as is Carlo, and a cow. So we get a moo. And yes, there will be a cow stream, maybe next month. We've also got me. I don't think I need to say hi to myself. We've got Mitchell. Hey Mitchell, I hope you're doing well. We've got David. Hope you're doing well too. Y2J fan. I said hi in the chat before I went live, but hi Y2J fan. And Aussie Guy, Custardo, Lord Dalek, and Mo. I think that's covered everybody who's here so far. So welcome to you, welcome all of you. And I suppose I should really get on things, shouldn't I? So let me turn the volume back up so we can hear Qbert again. Let me change my view to this, and let me go full screen. Yeah, I think the moves will be compulsory on the cow stream. It is the only acceptable language on that stream, but this is not yet the cow stream. So let's coin up Qbert. I'm just playing the parent set this time, so no faster, harder, more challenging Qbert, no mellow yellow Qbert, nothing too fancy, just good old Qbert. One of the games that was rather heavily cloned. I remember, you know, back on the 8-bits. Yes, Qbert said that for me. I had a whole bunch of clones of this on things like the CPC and the Spectrum. Quite a few of them written in BASIC and really slow and terrible. But the original game holds up remarkably well. Unfortunately, I'm a little out of practice, as you can maybe see. Yeah, Qbert's got lovely sound, the Votrex speech. I mean, he doesn't use it for that much speech, but it uses it for all sorts of odd effects, which is kind of ingenious. Obviously, Qbert's random blurting when you die is done with the chip, but you get enemies making odd sounds and that whole falling off the pyramid. It's a creative use of the sound chip, and one that was not well emulated in MAME for a long time, but recent years have changed that, and it's now actually really well emulated. Yes, I failed. Now maybe I'd do better if I turned the keyboard an angle. I wonder if there's a Russian clone of Qbert, David says. Wouldn't surprise me if there's a Russian version on, you know, for one of the Spectrum clones, because there's lots of things on those. But yeah, this is one of those games where it does help if you've got an actual angled joystick, because the cabinet had an angled joystick, which I think I said last time I played Qbert is one of the reasons it's always an odd fit to see on a multi-game cabinet, because you have to train yourself to press the right button. Although that is true for many isometric games, and a lot of them did not benefit from actually having an angled joystick. Yeah, I'm not doing very well here. Rubit. Yeah, that's what they did with the Qbert rip-offs. They would just put anything before the burp. Bert, not burp. Well, I took a purple ball to the face right there. So let's try again. Now, I don't have the sample for the cabinet sort of knocker thing installed, because I don't use samples. Although that is probably one of the exceptions where I would say using a... I took a purple ball to the face again. That is one of the exceptions where using it... Let's just fix it. And you get hello, I'm turned on. But, what was it saying? I think I was at least saying that lots of the rip-offs just used the word Bert with something else in front of them. I think it was Bert and just anything apart from the Qbert, really, to get away with calling it that without it being obvious. I don't remember this game being so difficult. But yeah, I don't have the sample installed. Though since it's actually a mechanical sample that you couldn't reproduce by emulating a component at all, I guess it's sort of the more acceptable use for samples, because it's a physical sound of the you know, the solenoid banging against the cabinet, really. And it's quite an intense thing. I mean, I've spoken to people who own these boards, and they say they've had to take it out because it created such a bang it was rattling components on the old boards loose. And that's probably not what you want to happen to your good old Qubit board, is it? Oops. Is a Qubit its own species? I mean, it's possibly in the Aardvark family. I'm not really sure. I did always think of Qubit or the many rip-offs as some kind of Aardvark as a kid, but you know, maybe this is in the Anteater universe. Though I'm not going to be playing Anteater because Anteater is not an isometric game. Why do I keep doing that? The MSX version is based on Qubit's cubes. That's an odd one. I guess it's a bit like some of the... you do get that, though. You get some games on the home computers that aren't quite what you'd expect them to be. I was talking about it with regards Frenzy on the Spectrum, which is really just Berserk. It's called Frenzy, but the gameplay doesn't really have the Frenzy elements. It's just got the elements from Berserk. Oh dear. Now, I have actually managed to get further in Qubit before, but clearly not today. Yeah, I mean, they wanted to go with novelty feature, I guess, and when there's a big thud, which sounds like a, you know, your character falling to the ground, and it's sort of right in your chest, or depending on how tall you are, really, it's not something you forget. It does feel like, you know, something just dropped to the bottom of the cabinet. And it's a nice little novelty. And it's one people remember. Although, yeah, you're quite lucky if you see a Qubit in the wild with it still working, because a lot of them did get disconnected. At least that's what I was told. I mean, I could have been misinformed. That was silly. A beta design for Elmo. I don't know. He's become quite the iconic character these days, hasn't he? Little appearances in things like Wreck-It Ralph. Which surprises me because, I don't know, a lot of the time you don't think these American arcade characters are going to be the popular ones. But in this case, Qubit was the unlikely mascot. But I say mascot, he didn't really have enough games to be called a mascot character. Well, we actually got to round 3. Yeah, this is where you get ones that make odd sounds and go on the wrong side of the pyramid. They're really, really creepy. Early force feedback. I don't think you'd call it force feedback unless, you know, you were to take the cabinet away and let it punch you in the chest. But that's not really force feedback, that's assault by cabinet. Which I believe the irritating maze eventually did better by blowing air in your face and all that. And those things that gave you a little bit of a shock. Yeah, that's the problem. I think Qubit probably came out at the wrong time. But still, managed to be incredibly iconic. Why did I do that? Yeah, I'm definitely out of practice with Qubit. There's a dip switch here. There's no... I can give myself... I can't even give myself... Wow, there's not a huge number of useful dip switches in Qubit. So let's just start again. He does have quite a nose. And has been portrayed in many... less than favourable pictures as a result of his nose. This is a final lap level performance, this is. I think we're going to be off to a good start. Oh, I just realised the sound is coming out of the speakers, not my headphones. Let me change that, otherwise it's probably going to be picked up on the microphone. There we go. Don't know why that changed. That's better. Sorry about that if it was sounding a bit strange. I had the sound on my speakers. So maybe you're getting double sound. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully, if there was an issue, it is now solved. Sometimes Windows will do that. It'll just change your sound output device. Or not change your sound output device, as was the case this time. It's meant to change it when I plugged the headphones in. It did not. Oh, well. Anyway, we've had about 10 minutes of Qbert. We'll play another credit. Oh yes, you understand the kind of pictures I mean. Ones that could ruin his career. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe Gottleib spent so much money covering up the stories of what Qbert was up to that they no longer had any money to develop anything else. Although that does seem a little unlikely. I should probably not start Qbert conspiracy theories on the channel. I got away with jumping on the purple ball then, when I should not have done, although it didn't really get me anywhere. So, how's everybody doing anyway? Are you all good? If you've been following the channel, you'll notice I uploaded a little video earlier of a Mario-related redemption game that has been dumped and partially emulated. That was a nice turn-up. I mean, there are probably thousands of redemption games out there, but when one's, you know, with major IPs in turn-up, they're good to see. It's nice to see how different companies made use of important video game IP. And Mario is obviously quite a big video game IP. Yeah, Mario Undokai. There's a game in MAME called The Undokai, I think, which is a Taito one. But that is not related. It's just got the same sort of sports theme. I think that's as far as we're probably going to see in Qbert today, to be quite honest. Round 3. A disappointing performance. I think the Mellow Yellow version might be slightly easier, because I remember getting a bit further when I last played it, and I think I played that version. Or maybe I'm just rubbish at Qbert. I'm probably just rubbish at Qbert. Yeah, in Japan it seemed Nintendo was quite happy to let anybody get their hands on their IP and do some things that probably be considered quite objectionable today. But, you know, will there be any bootlegs today? I don't think there are any on my list, David. And hey, Bob. I hope you're doing well. And happy birthday, Bob Loblaw. Is it really your birthday, Bob? In which case, happy birthday to you. If it's not your birthday, I will take it that it is your birthday. So, everybody want to say happy birthday to Bob in the chat, one of our regulars, who does like to tell us what special day it is on any day I stream. Who we got? Who else we got? Okay, we've got Lo-Fi Kills asking if ever played a Pushy Sharat, or however you say it. I always think of it like a pussycat, but that's probably not what it was meant to be. Yes, I have played that one. I don't know. I mean, I didn't have any problems playing it. I thought it sounded pretty good and the paddle was alright, lo-fi, but I'll have to have a look at it again. I might cover that in another stream and see how it holds up. Maybe you've got double map controls on the paddle or something. I don't know. Who else we got? Mass Ninja. Hey, Mass Ninja. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well. Hey, MAME fan, one of our regulars as well. So got their own channel, upload loads and loads of videos. So if you've not subscribed to MAME Fan's channel, go and give that one a subscribe and check out the content, because it's all good stuff. Who else we got? I think that's it for the new arrivals. So apologies if I missed anybody. Oh, we've got Jackson wishing you a happy birthday. So yes, Bob. Anyway, next game. I'm going to go straight to one of the other ones that's on my little preview edge, and everybody's favourite, the X68K. Now, this was one of a number of X68K games I was considering. I was also considering The Last Tempest, but unfortunately, The Last Tempest is a protected game, and the only disk image for it is not cracked, so it fails the copy protection. Crazy Carl has been patching the protection, but it's quite clever protection, and it interferes with the game in various places, and probably never going to be perfect without a proper dump. But The Last Tempest appears to be quite a rare game. But yeah, the last track on The Last Tempest is missing, so it doesn't work properly. So I'm playing this one instead, which is Square Resort. There is a gambling game called Mario Roulette from Konami, Aussie guy. I have even featured it on the stream before. So this is an intro, it's in Japanese. Don't know what it's saying. It's got a nice earthy planet there though. Nice little effect they've got going on. But, yeah, I say I'm not sure what the intro is actually telling me, because I can't read Japanese. So I might just press the button and skip to loading the game. Now, it's not crashed, it just doesn't fade the screen down until it's loaded the game. Will there be any weird games today? I'm tempted to play Atari's BeatHead, even though it's not quite angled or quite isometric. It's sort of got a cubit look to it. That's kind of odd game. Something UFOs. Yes, that is how I interpret it. I intend that as isometric bits. I didn't know that, Carlo. It's not on my list. I'm generally going for ones that are mostly angled. So yes, this is Square Resort, or as I thought the logo initially said, Squaresoft. But no, it's by Family Soft. And it's called Square Resort, and I don't know how to play it. I just saw it was an isometric game on the X68K where you control a weird tank thing and drop balls. And apparently you don't want to fall off the edge. And the balls roll downhill and things explode into other things. So, if anybody actually knows what you do, because I've not worked this out yet. I'll try these here. Turn that red, maybe that's important. Turn that one red. Oh, if I fall off, I go back to the top, so I don't want to fall off. Clearly I don't want to fall off. Do I want to turn this one red? Oh. I feel like this must be important. Oh, something's happened. What happened? Oh, there's another tank on the grid. Oh, I've got to get the high ground, I think. Oh, there's a flag down there then. Maybe I want the flag. It's 720 degrees if it was Vindicators. I have no idea what this is. Obviously, that was not what I was meant to do at the end there. But, yeah, I must have defeated the tank initially. Then it came back. Yeah, I see. I can drop loads of balls on the tank and it goes away. But, yeah, that's showing me the ones that are coloured up there. So, yeah, this looked like a strange game. I mean, if we're talking about potentially weird games, I think this one's up there. So I go down here. Oh. Apparently I've completed the level this time. So there we go. Now, I don't know what this has to do with all those UFOs in the intro at all. This does not look like a game with UFOs. But yeah, there's definitely a physics element to this, because your balls do roll down the hills. Also, these look like little mice. Single button mice. Apple mice, maybe? Yeah, I had a look, I saw some screenshots of this. Had a little look at next 68K video. I thought, yeah, this one counts for the stream. Oh, there's a flag there. That seems to restore my health. Interesting. But yes, unfortunately, I couldn't play the last TMSS, which isn't as isometric, but looked interesting. It looked a bit like a mix of Snake, Rattle, and Rollins and all the stuff. But I can play this one. Yeah, I'm actually surprised, Joe. I mean, I got the impression for a long time that the Japanese games weren't that innovative, and a lot of them were just arcade ports. Very good arcade ports, but still just arcade ports. But then I started looking like the X68K library and some of the FM Town games. And those really do have something else to them. So that makes the blue balls. I don't know what the blue balls do. Do they change those things back to blue? This is a steep hill. Oh, this is actually tricky to get up. I do like the way you can spawn loads of balls and have them roll around the landscape like this. I mean, and so you go up hills and down, you go down much more quickly. So is there anything else to do? No. Again, I've completed that level. So I'm guessing this is going to gradually build up in the number of things in the stages. I mean, this is still stage 1 apparently. This is just different parts of stage 1. So it's probably a little bit tutorial-like. How many balls can I spawn? Lots is the answer. Oh, I must have fallen off. Well, that was maybe slightly wonky collision. So that's turned red. Is it now on my side, or can I destroy it? I don't know. Get the flag. I don't know what this flag does, but I've been collecting. It seems to restore some health. Right, so. Oh, right, fine. The red one takes off with me. There you go. So there's definitely a red-blue element to this. Red counters blue. So there's a UFO. Have the UFOs been dropping these things the whole time? Have I just missed that? You will not escape my wave of red balls. Or maybe you were because I died. Okay. Okay. Suddenly the AI seems to have got a bit more powerful. Their balls are bigger than mine. Or do I hold the button? Maybe I hold the button. Do I get to continue on? Right back to the start. Oh. I can go to stage 2 at least. Which is curious. I wonder if it's got a save date on the disc where somebody's got to stage 2 before, if it always lets you start on stage 2. Yeah, all you've missed is Qbert, and now I've been playing this No Johto. So let's have a look at what this level is. Let's have a look at what stage 2 is. Oh, so you can hold it to fire further, right? Okay, I get it. Also, there's a lot of red tanks now. Wow, this game doesn't mess around once it gets to stage 2. I can tell you that much. The difficulty went like that. Yeah, I think they're trying to build ski resorts, Bob. Okay, shall we give stage 2 another try? And am I missing something in terms of strategy here? Maybe I need to take the high ground? Nexus help? We need to get the flag. Yeah, the flag's giving me big balls. Briefly. Okay, you don't get many big balls. Maybe we need to make it dash to the... No. Now this strikes me as a game that would have been fairly at home on a PlayStation with actual 3D graphics. But it's not. If I just do these things anyway, apparently... Yeah. Maybe I can just get to the corners and do these without destroying the enemies? Well, that seems like a risky... No, they turn them back below. Okay, that's what I thought they did, to be honest. Oh, but I've destroyed that... Oh. I've not tested if Pogo J works in MAME Joe, so it'd be a bit of a tricky one to play, but I can note it down for a future stream. I mean, for C64 I tend to stick with what's in the software lists, and MAME C64 emulation is kind of hit or miss, so if I've not tested it beforehand, then I don't usually play it. One more try this stage, because I don't really know what I'm doing yet. So, come on. Oh, I can jump. Okay, that's different. Holding both buttons makes me jump in the air. Doesn't seem especially useful, but who knows. Well, this is a basing. That spawns it, right. And now it's red, so now it spawns red tanks. Help me. Ah, that's... Yeah, they're now on my side. I've got an army now. Okay, there's more to this game than I thought. Come on. Oh, there's another base to spawn. Okay, and now they've turned both bases blue. Right. So turn this base red. We need more red tanks, not blue ones. Turn this base red. Now we should be able to do better. Maybe. Move the flag. Yeah, back to health. Take that one out. Get the corners done. I don't know if you can clear the levels by doing the corners before you've taken the tanks out. Maybe that's the other strategy. Maybe if you can get to the corners beforehand, but you can also win that way. But obviously taking the tanks out makes it easier. 5 resorts? Yeah. Oh, so you actually you translated the intro well. Okay. Thank you for that, because I really didn't know what it said. But there we go. That is actually stage 2, level 1 complete. Once I figured out this extra strategy of there being spawn bases. So this has got RTS elements as well as being an isometric shooter. Yeah, I don't think I can easily do that, because these tanks will be trying to change them back. Yeah, look. And that's probably why there's a radar, so I can see which ones are changed. I've changed them all now, but does that finish the level? No, it does not. So yeah, apparently I do have to take out the tanks. Or they run out? Charging is important. Oh, is that my last life? Yeah, that was my last life. So yeah, this is an interesting one. This is not one I'd actually played before. This is one that I saw and thought I'll give this one a try. I'm glad I did, because I think I'll come back to this game. It actually seems like an interesting and unique challenge. Sort of 2 armies of tanks firing balls at each other on an isometric playfield with bases. The collision seems a little iffy at times. I suppose once you get used to where the hitboxes are, it'll make more sense. But yes, definitely an odd mix of genres, this one. and I can't say I've ever played a game exactly like this. A little bit like Herzog's Zwei. Again, I've not really played that much of that one. Maybe I should. You're hoping to build an arcade one-up for your 2-year-old while this plays. That's not a bad idea, and there's plenty of suitable games for 2-year-olds in MAME fan, and nice little introduction that, yes. Anyway, let's quit out of this one and have a look at something else. Okay. Let's go with the full window one. I'm probably going to have to turn the CRT filter off on this one, because this is a Game Boy Color game that caught my eye. Not for being good or anything like that. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to turn the filter to the correct one. I really should put an INI file for the Game Boy, but I've not done that yet. Where is it? LCD grid, that one will do. Now, I was surprised to see this. This is a prototype, but it's a prototype port of Galeco's, or Galeco's, how do you want to pronounce them, Radikal Bikers, which is a 3D arcade game. Now, excuse the Game Boy audio emulation, it's not great, so this sounds much better with a better emulator. You know, if somebody's looking for something to possibly rewrite in MAME that is probably documented somewhere, then the Game Boy audio is definitely a potential target. A 12-in-1 Namco cabinet, MAME fan. Which games have you chosen? I think that one was previously working, Bob, although I didn't try it a long time ago. You know, it was working the first time I tried it, which was, well, when I was preparing the stream last week. But, yeah, if you played Radikal Bikers, you'll know it's one of the 3D Galeco arcades. So I find it quite interesting that it was potentially going to have this port to the Game Boy Color. Although I'm also kind of curious as to why the port got cancelled. Maybe the game just didn't do well enough. Maybe this was not considered impressive enough. But it's obviously been dumped at some point. And I can't tell you, I know anything of the history of, you know, the Game Boy dumping scene to tell you when, or how, or who. Is that a shortcut I missed? But yeah, there is this game. It's dumped, and it's a port of an arcade game. So the kind of thing I like to look at on these streams. Yes, it does look a bit like 1000 Mile Rally, Aussie guy. There are quite a few games like that, and it makes sense because I mean, you're not really going to get a proper 3D game on the Game Boy. I mean, some people did try. There are definitely examples of 3D done on a Game Boy. I'm assuming some of these are little jumps you can go. Well, not that type of jump. But yeah, unfortunately, the sound just let down MAME's Game Boy emulation quite badly. I mean, this is a Galeco game, and you know, the original one of those racers that really defined the style was their own World Rally. So it kind of makes sense that they've gone this route for the home port, a Game Boy port of one of their other games, because it's a genre they were very familiar with. And they've got Snowboard Championship 2, which I think I covered on a different stream, so I might not do Snowboard Championship again. But, yeah, they were sort of the masters of this type of game in the sense that they created the genre. Even, yeah, I did look at another game that was the SNK one that was similar. Kick. Okay, what's Kick? I guess it's just speed up. Timeout. Those do sound like tricky games for a 2-year-old MAME fan. You're starting them off quite tough there. But I mean, Pac-Mania has got a fairly gentle curve to it. But, there are some challenging games there. Not ones they can credit feed their way through either. dash into cars. I don't know if the other buttons do anything, if it's just... Nope. I don't really have a strategy on this. There might be more to the game that I'm not seeing. I should really remember there's a shortcut there. It might be one of those games where you have to take the shortcuts. But there we go, I managed to finish it. Oh, who have we got joining? We've got R09. Hey, welcome. I hope you're doing well. I think I said hi to Joe. Well, I at least responded to a comment about the C64 game in time. Hey R09. Welcome to the stream. We did have a little look at an X68K game just a moment ago. Bob providing some handy translations of the intro screens, the story. Which was definitely a bit more than something UFOs, although not much more. The game was actually really good. And hey fellow Jasper as well, so yeah, I see your message up there in the chat, welcome. I wish you could just jump over the cross. Yeah, you can't jump up the steps. So this off-tune music is got its own funky little style, but it's definitely not as Also, Bob has been making quite a few contributions to MAME as of late. Mapper improvements for the NES, which is always good to see. And Stephen has too, although I don't think Stephen's in the chat right now. Time out. I guess the Game Boy wasn't really going to do the original music though, was it, Mo? But, yes, get out of my way. I'm a pizza man. Still, I can see it. I would have enjoyed this back in the day had it come out and had I had a Game Boy. I don't know what it'd be like in the long run. But a little game to kill the time. Yeah. I mean, I was researching a bit of Game Boy anyway. And I'm surprised by how many good-looking Game Boy games there are, especially Game Boy Color games, that I've never seen anybody cover before. I mean, maybe they have, maybe just not been looking at the right channels. But there are some really good-looking titles on it. And, will I effectively take that shortcut? I'm not sure. And Konami seem to have a few that I've not seen on other platforms. Yeah. Oh, we've got Yamim. Thank you for subscribing and welcome. If you're in the chat, feel free to say hi. If you're watching the stream, rather, because if you're in the chat, you would have already said hi. Because that is what being in the chat is. The coins do look a bit like the Stig on a motorbike, don't they? It handles remarkably well, I have to say. Better than I would expect it to. I'm not going to play it for too much longer because we have been doing it for about 10-15 minutes now, and I think we've seen what it is. And if you've not checked out the original arcade version, make sure to do so. I might cover it on the stream if I do some 3D games. I think next month I'm going to be doing a Jewel or Junk for July, where I'll be looking at games and asking you lot in the chat if you think they're jewels or if you think they're just junk. Or, you know, to be fair, are they just an average game that doesn't deserve to be called either? To throw things into, and I might even maintain a list on stream with OBS and get all ambitious and add text to it, and yeah. Yes, the music probably is quite nice with correct emulation. I say I wish somebody would fix the Game Boy sound emulation, because it's kind of bad that in 2021 MAME's Game Boy sound emulation sounds like this. So we'll probably just move on now to save your ears. But I'm going to stick with unusual platforms. This game is on other platforms. Let me just close the window. It's getting a bit dark. But I decided I'm going to play the Atari Lynx version. And again, I'm going to have to change the shader here because I've not got any file set up for Lynx. But this is Desert Strike. Yes, Jackson, there was lots of pizza. Now, Desert Strike is a game. It's quite quiet, isn't it? Let's turn it up a little bit. Desert Strike is a game that I know more from the Amiga and the Mega Drive. I had it on the Mega Drive, I played it on the Amiga, but it did get a port to the Atari Lynx, of all things. And you know what? It's not a bad port. So let's have a look at it before we move on to some more arcade games, I think. If I remember what start is. Option 1, option 2, 3. There. Oh. I didn't want to flip it around. Yeah, the other problem is, I guess, the other Game Boy emulators are under incompatible licenses. At least some of them are. So, yeah, this is slightly open world. I mean, you bring up your map screen with your objectives. I don't, you know, I can see where some of the other objectives are already, even though I'm not on those missions. But taking them out in order is important, really, because if you take out the radars first, it weakens other things. I mean, a lot of people, I think, would tell you that Jungle Strike was a better game because it's got more variety of vehicles and the like. But honestly, I always prefer Desert Strike. I think I like the simplicity of it. So the other radar is up there. Oh, let's not get shot. Now, I can imagine this is very easy to play on an original Lynx with a tiny screen. I mean, it's not that tiny, but a small screen, because the bullets are single pixels, and that's going to be very small and hard to see. However, when you're playing on an emulator, it works pretty well. Go away, radar. Obviously, the graphics are a little bit downgraded compared to the other versions. Substation's over there, is it? Now, you do have to watch your fuel and find ammo dumps and the like. So is that fuel? Get the crane. There you go. Probably going to waste this by picking up now, but let's fly around. Let's fly to the next. You played the DOS version a lot. See, the DOS version is one I've never played. I'm assuming the DOS version is going to be quite close to the Amiga version, R09. Did this get ported to any Japanese computers, do you know? It seems the type of game that's... Oh, it's not flying to the rock. Warning, low armor. Also low ammo by the looks of it. Low everything. Oh, no. Fly away. Now, you can find out where the armor is on the map. I think. Or can you not? Maybe you can't. I know where the ammo is, which will help. There's some south of me. Maybe you have to go back to base again. I think the ammo was in here from memory. Now, it's a bit like Gauntlet. If you blow up the ammo, a bit like if you shoot the food, you're a very silly person. Yeah, it seems like the type of game that I think could have been popular in Japan. And like you say, with EA doing a few Japanese things with Victor, it's one I would have thought might be. Oops. It blew up. That's what I get for trying to attack an airport, I guess. But, oh, no, those are dangerous ones, those actual SAM sites. Take those out quickly. I can take things out with this gun, but it just takes a lot longer. I think I'm getting some help here. Probably weren't meant to help me, were you? I think your boss will be very unhappy with you. Oh, SAM site. Yeah, this is it's a solid game. It's a much more difficult than you expect it to be. It does ramp up the difficulty, and you start to get things that are heavily time dependent. I don't know exactly which thing you need to take out on the airport side. Oh, there's a guy there with a rocket. Low armour. How much health does a little guy have? This is just fuel, isn't it? That's not going to help my armour situation. Is this base? No, there's still something I need to take out. Probably this building. Good rampaging double dragon. That's that airport done. Will there be any more R-Zone games dumped? I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming eventually there will be, but I think some of them are trickier to dump. I don't think they use the same technology in all of them. David, I think that was one of the issues with the R-Zone. Some of them use different MCUs that aren't just dumpable. I could be wrong on that. I could be entirely wrong on that. Ooh. Yeah, I think this is... I mean, the Lynx is actually a really impressive little handheld. If you look at some of the games on it, they're much more than you expect them to be. Yeah, I should probably go and get some ammo, shouldn't I, rather than trying to take that out without it. So yeah, there's people you can rescue, the MIA people, if you want to. Maybe they're what repair your armor. I can't remember actually. I want some ammo. There's some ammo. Some ammo out here. I can find it, but there's probably SAM sites too. So. Here. Okay. Maybe in one of these. Don't know which one. This is the problem, when you run out of missiles, things do take a lot of hits. There we go. Oh well, yeah, I got blown up picking up the ammo because I didn't see the little guy because he's kind of green and brown, and his camouflage. I mean, he's wearing camo, so you know it's effective camo. I couldn't see him. There we go. A game over on Desert Strike, the Lynx version. I don't think I've done many Lynx games on stream. I might have done Raiden before. I can't remember. But yeah, the Lynx is one that I kind of want to look at more. So I might look at some of the arcade ports because yeah, there were like yeah, I think you're talking about ports to. This Lynx ports have it because I think Rampage and Double Dragon won the Lynx, weren't they? Because it's an Atari machine, and I think Atari had the license for Double Dragon, and of course, and other things, and of course, there's lots of Atari games on the Lynx. Although maybe I'm wrong. I did look at a list of Lynx games. Maybe I'm thinking of a different platform though. I can't remember actually. Desert Strike got a Japanese release on the Famicom. Interesting. So it was played in Japan. It didn't get stuck in US and Europe. I'm surprised it wasn't on more things though. So what should we do next? Okay. Let me pick again. Actually, let's go with the other one in the preview image. No, I'm going to have to turn the volume down here because I turned it right up for that. So there we go. This is Namco's Blazer, which is one of the ones that I would say was angled rather than in any way isometric. But it does have this tilt to the display, which gives it a distinctive look over your standard viewing angles. Oh, you're talking about the 2600, sorry. I've lost track. So yeah, maybe I'm completely wrong and the Lynx didn't get Double Dragon. I've been watching a lot of videos of various systems over the last week or so, and some of them I'm quite confused about. I'm not sure this track mode is perfectly in sync, or it's just especially bad at playing it. The game is now called Ranker. No, it's still called Blazer. They've just put Ranker on there, haven't they? Quite odd to see, but it is the high school table. Now, this is one of those Namco games that probably doesn't get talked about much. Now they've put Charge in the logo. But, is it any good? The Lynx battery life was kind of awful, and the screen was, well, it was blurry like most things of that era. I don't know, I didn't know somebody with a Lynx. Also, the Lynx was kind of big and heavy. It might have been a challenge at times to say it was portable. It was powerful. I mean, it's more of a blitter-based design, and that didn't always work well for the systems. I mean, you know, look at how badly the Jaguar did, and that's blitter-based. But when you're talking about, you know, a handheld where the frame rate isn't that important, this game seems tricky. It works quite well, and you can do loads of nice zooming effects and the like because you're not constrained to sprites and tile maps. But it does mean there's a bit more CPU overhead, which is why, you know, it's not always great at new performance. I feel this would have benefited from a rotary joystick. I want to shoot that tank, but I can't shoot that tank until I'm right in its firing line. Ranker is an unfortunate name if you have roticism. How would a Crystal Castles have done all the things? The screen might be a bit small for Crystal Castles, I'm not sure. Private. That's what it said. You are private, I guess. I'm a very private person, according to this. So yeah, I'm not going to pretend this is one I've really ever spent any time playing, because it's not. It's one of those. It's one of those Namco System 1 games that I don't know. It doesn't get mentioned much compared to, say, Splatterhouse, Pac-Mania, even the other tank game. What's it called? Tank Force. This one is just kind of there. It's a reinforced wooden dock. Now, you do have air fire and ground fire in this, so it's almost got an isometric Moon Patrol feel to it, although it's difficult. I mean, this feels almost Zaxxon level difficult, and that's without me having to worry about height control. Oh, that thing turns around. Now, it's definitely not the best tank game ever made, because that honour will still go to Namco's Assault as far as I'm concerned. Stop. Oh, okay, now I'm not a tank. Now I have a fly bird. Now it really is more Zaxxon-like. Although again, without the height control. No, I mean, this is a Japanese set. It was probably never released outside of Japan. I mean, there's no evidence it was. Which, again, probably contributes to why it doesn't get talked about much. See, now I've got bombs instead of firing upwards, air shots. So that makes sense, because I'm in the air. Do I land on this? No. Yes. Yes, back in the tank. It's nice of them to park the tank there for me, isn't it? The logs were stress tested, yes. It's all fine. And if they weren't before, they have been now. Flame tank. Reminds me of Command and Conquer. Although with less burning people. You know what this needs? It needs a jump button. So I can jump over those shots. I don't think it's that bad, Aussie guy. It's just a little bit difficult. Although the way it writes words in the tank there is, that is a little bit janky, isn't it? Zaxxon Future Spy. Yeah, I'd probably be looking at one or maybe even both of those later. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where these sets came from. Chicago, apart from, you know, somebody had a PCB of it. I mean, a lot of this is old history now. I mean, that set must have been added years ago. I mean, you do sometimes find, you know, Namco or these other companies will have put out one or two boards. Oh, I've got a fancy tank now. Got bombs being dropped on me. You will find that some games did have limited releases in the US. You know, not well documented ones. Maybe one or two arcades got them, and eventually the boards ended up out there. It happens. I mean, we know it happened with some Sega games as well. And there's some very rare sets like Sega's Incident R. You know, very few arcades would have had the English version of that, but it did exist. And people say there's even a proper English version of Tantar, even though... Oh, I shot the oil. Even though most arcades just had a bootleg of the Japanese version of that one. The weakness is you can only fire forward, and I can fire in every direction. And drive into your shots. Yeah, I've still got a fancy tank. It just keeps exploding, Bob. It's good at exploding. That is its special ability. I mean, there's in terms of rare Namco things, there's that Namco System 2 game, Valkyrie, I think Valkyrie something, where there's an English version on the PlayStation, which kind of hints that there might have been an English arcade version that either didn't get released or had a very limited release. But obviously when you're dealing with PlayStation emulation ports, they're not really emulation, they're more ports or heavily HLE'd, so you know, you can't just extract some ROMs from that. Oh, never mind. To blow this up and go this way. That was cheap. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have a very good strafing T3. This isn't the T3 I remember. It might be better than the real T3 though. Namco and their Terminator license. It's interesting you have to blow up the crate to get the oil, which is clearly less explosive than the crate. So, Blazer. You swap between lots of different types of tanks, and apparently not that many helicopters, and you blow things up. I don't think it's all that bad. Interestingly high score. Name is Kaiko Saito. I've seen that name before. What have I seen that name on? Yeah, I guess as maybe Namco just didn't think much of it. If it didn't get ported, didn't get released in the US, didn't get ported. I mean, I don't think it's a prototype. I think it's a released game. But there's not much to it. There's lots of different tanks, but in terms of gameplay, it seems quite shallow. So I don't know. I've played worse. I've played better. It fits the stream through being at a slight angle, rather than me having any personal liking for it. I didn't realise it had all the different vehicles though. I mean, I've not even played that far before. I just drove along a bit and shot a few things and going, it's okay. So it's kind of nice to see that the variety in the vehicles, but there's not that much variety in the actual gameplay. Kaiko Saito. Where have I seen that name before? Yeah, it's definitely worth a bit of a play, the Ogre. I think you probably get bored of it quite quickly. Hey, Rockman, welcome to the chat. I hope you're doing well. Yes, that's the one I'm talking about, Bob. I think that's the one where there's an English version on the PlayStation 1. Although I could be getting the game mixed up with another one. It's not a game I've really played much of. Okay, one that was mentioned in the chat. Crystal Castles. Now the approach this takes to your starting stage is interesting, because there's a few Atari games that let you choose your starting stage based on your skill. I mean, Star Wars being one of the classic ones. This doesn't, but it has a variety of warp zones on the earlier stages. So if I go here and run behind here and press jump, it warps me. So this is sort of like I've chosen to start on stage 3 now, because that's a really easy thing to pull off. And there's a warp on this stage too, but it's much trickier to access. You have to get the hat, and then you have to go up here. No, not in here. Didn't do it in time. You've got to get the hat and go to the hidden corner inside before the timer runs off, out on the hat, and then jump. And I failed to do it, because it's actually a little bit trickier. So yeah, if you skip to stage 3, you're skipping the 2 easiest levels in the game. Yeah, it is one of those games where you can die when you can't see yourself. Because you can sort of see yourself, you can just see the... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know where some of the warps are. I'm actually really, really bad at this game, unfortunately. So, I do know where they are, but... There we go. Now, obviously, playing this on stick, on a like keyboard, doesn't help. How do you even get there in time? It's you don't get long to go and get that warp. This game kills you off quickly if you're not good at it. Very quickly. But yeah, you probably want some kind of analog controls, and the angle makes it kind of tricky. It's never been a game I've been a huge fan of. I've always struggled with it. But I think if you had the original controls, which... was it trackball? I think it's trackball, wasn't it? You'd probably find it a bit easier. And you probably wouldn't run straight into enemies like that. Yeah, you've got to go up the lift and then down the ramp, haven't you, Joe? From what I remember. But that means you've got to wait for the lift? Or am I getting confused? You probably have to time it. That's the, yeah, Namco Museum 5 in 97, Bob. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of then. Bees. There we go. That's the warp in this stage. Get the hat, run down there and jump. You can't do it without the hat though, which is odd. But that's how the warp on that stage works. But yeah, that is sort of the equivalent of the choose your difficulty that you see in some other games. If you're good enough at the game to do the warps, then you get to skip a bunch of stages. And I think that's quite a good way of doing it. Though I imagine quite a few people would have triggered that first stage warp by mistake. Just not realising. Yeah, this is one of the games that's got a slightly different angle. I mean, this is not your traditional isometric game view, but it's also, you know, I can't think of any other games that use this exact angle, which means Crystal Castles does stand out visually. Oh, Jimmy. Also stands out as being, say, quite a tricky one. But if you're on the trackball, that'd probably be easier because your diagonals are literally diagonal, and you never really want to be going diagonal. You know, it's oh, hey, Extreme Rec. I didn't give much notification on the stream before I started streaming. It was a bit last minute, so that might be why. The PC version is very different without Namco Hog. Are we talking Valkyrie? Bob. I've not played the PC version of that. But, shall we not use the warp this time? Shall we just complete this level? Then you get to see a different level at least. You get to see level 2 that I've been skipping. But, yeah, see. Oh, very difficult to play on keyboard, this one. Look at the slow enemies. And yeah, they eat the dots too. That's one of the things with Crystal Castles. Well, they're gems in this. Here's the level you've not seen yet because I kept skipping because it's level 2. And why did I do that? It's not Pac-Man. So yeah, I didn't use the warp this time on purpose because I just wanted to show you a different level. Because you're not going to see many levels unless... I mean, maybe I could try play it on the Xbox pad, then I'd probably have the angle better. I have to consider that for a future stream. Oh yeah, this is another level I skipped before, so... Mr. Dancing Skeleton Man there. Big tongue, this one. But yeah, quite a lot of this is about finding the hidden passages. Look, I've got the hat. So, you know, you can't see necessarily where the passages are, so you have to learn the level layouts and not do that. Do I like any games from the first generation? What are we talking about in terms of first generation here, Extreme Rec? I mean, you know, which machines do you specifically refer to? I mean, you know, you could say the first generation was sort of the TV Pong games. You collect the dots for me. Yeah, go on. But yeah, you get the bonus if you get the last gem. I find the generation definition to be a little arbitrary. Pick up the Xbox pad now. It's Turbo Game. Yeah, it's trackball, so you can actually move a lot quicker, but that doesn't really make it easier. Yeah, the TV Pong game. I mean, I played a few of them growing up because people's parents still had them from, you know, earlier days, although yeah, they were technically a bit before my time. It's far too fast to control with this. I'd have to set the sensitivity right down. That doesn't help now. Make it faster. Yeah, it makes it much harder. You are correct. I probably have to slow it down. Never mind. Doomsdome has defeated me. I don't want to spend too long on Crystal Castles. I think you know Crystal Castles. It's one of Atari's famous games. But yeah, a shame I didn't get to actually show you the third warp zone, but I'm not very good at it. I've never been very good at it. It's one of those where I think having the original controls would be much better. So we stick with Atari. I was debating if there was one really counts, but it's kind of an interesting game. Atari's BeatHead, which is a prototype from '93. Stella on steroids is what that said. It's got the Atari ASAP processor, which is the only use for this game. It seems to have been custom designed for this game, which is probably the most 90s thing you'll ever see. Yeah, it's meant to be played with a trackball, and I don't have a trackball. But yeah, I remember playing a tic-tac-toe, noughts and crosses type game at a friend's house on one of those first generation systems, which had a few variations in it. As a kid, it was something else that was entertaining to pass the time. Can't say it ever made me want to buy one. I had a Spectrum.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this didn't get released, probably because it's a bit too crazy looking. And again, it's potentially more... I'm not sure if it counts in terms of the theme, but it looks like Qubit, so I kind of thought I'd include it. But yeah, what is going on? You press the button to jump, and you have to stomp the tiles. Considering that it's got custom designed hardware, the frame rate is a bit rubbish. Did I win? Pound L1. So yeah, I'm building up the thing in the top corner there. But I mean, you do move on diagonals, so I guess I count it. I mean, it's a weird game. Yeah, this is completely off the rails. It's probably better than some things Atari did release, but it's not a game that makes a whole lot of sense. Plus, it feels slow and laggy, and probably not what you want an arcade game to feel like. Yeah, I mean, sometimes games are easier to play with controls you're more familiar with. I mean, I think I find the likes of Robotron easier with dual analog sticks than two actual joysticks, because two big joysticks feels very clunky to me these days. But most people who grew up with Robotron would never consider playing it on analog sticks. It does look like an Atari prototype, yes, Joe. It looks like a very 90s Atari prototype. But, okay, so they disappear on me. I'm still just collecting things while they're there. Oops, I fell off. I need another one. Oh, I lost. Spiritual meningitis. What? The music's really called Spiritual Meningitis? Or am I misreading that? So there's ones that I can collect, ones that we both can collect, and ones that, only one player can collect, the other player can collect. And there's ones that do nothing, and falling off, obviously time penalises you. Oh, suddenly it ramped up the difficulty bit here, and I'm losing to Dog Person. Oh, let's continue, yes. This is just a joystick. You just move in the direction you want to move. Unless you're still talking about trackballs. This actually doesn't have awkward angled controls like Cubert. So again, it's a push to include this one. But I thought it was worth showing off. Because it's one of those very zany, shall we say, arcade games. And it's definitely one that if somebody's never seen it, they're probably going to want to go and give a try. So I'm thinking the strategy might be to try and get the ones that are multicoloured, because that also hinders the opposition too. Yeah, the music's not great for a music-themed game, to be quite honest. But then again, it's got that, yeah, that 90s Genesis-y guitar sound that's, I don't know. Okay, that was bad. Okay, that was also bad. Okay, and it names all the tracks, but none of them seem that memorable. Plus you're mostly hearing ding, 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 like somebody's doorbell. So I've got to jump over this when it's... Nope. So close. Everything about the game is trying to be psychedelic and bizarre. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely play this over Gardens of the Hood Chicago. I'm going to have to play Gardens of the Hood at some point on one of these streams, but... I've done that again. Motivating myself to play Guardians of the Hood is difficult. It sounds a bit like one of the tracks on a Tool album. I can't remember which track it is, but you've stolen the ones I wanted. Yeah, so 90s it hurts. I'm surprised it wasn't released. I mean, say, Atari released far worse. But maybe the whole thing of it using its entirely, its own processor made this ridiculously expensive as well. That is something you have to consider. I mean... But then you've got to consider, the research money was spent on the processor and the architecture, so it's just gone to waste by not releasing the game. What is a Blondie reference? I don't know. Atari did like their music references. I mean, some of the Jaguar prototype boards, I think Threes has got Jaguar little pill printed on the circuit board alongside a set. So, yeah, Atari did like sneaking in little cultural references. And that's not the only one. There's other boards with similar... I think some of what's on the boards is documented in the main source, if you find it. Yeah, I think that is the only 90s thing missing, isn't it, Bob? Radikal. Now, I did ask on Twitter for suggestions for isometric games, and I fear I'm probably going to end up not playing a lot of them, even though I want to, because a lot of what was suggested were more RPG type games, and they're kind of tricky to cover on stream. I mean, by the time I spent 15 minutes playing an RPG, we might have got through the first cutscene, and it might have given me control and actually let me do something. Which is unfortunate, because there's a lot of really good isometric RPGs, but I don't know how to fit them into a stream. AI suddenly got a lot worse. Congo Bongo is one I'll probably look at in a bit. So, along with some of the other Sega ones. I think they need samples though, so they might be in silence, because I don't like using samples. Although, so I don't think the sound emulation is done on Zaxxon yet. It's definitely one that could do with analog sound if it's not got it. I think, yeah, when I lose again here, we can move on to another game, because you've seen what this has to offer. I'm surprised I didn't try a game with this concept at some other point, but it seems like they designed this game, they like the concept in some way to put this much effort into it, and then just canned it. And we never really saw anything like this again. Then again, maybe it tested really badly or something. I don't know, I've never even really read much about this one. Dear. Sometimes difficult to know what height anything's at. I mean, you know, where you're jumping, because the tires are different heights too, and you think it's going to be up left and it's just left. That just said 3 dicks sex in the corner, didn't it? Interesting. Probably not the kind of thing I want on my stream. Yeah, the background's getting trippier all the time. And yes, the song names are very suggestive, as I thought they were. Are there games in MAME that have actual surround sound? Well, MAME can't actually output more than stereo at the moment, so there's nothing going to output more than stereo. Although TX1, the racing game, at least is meant to have side speakers, so you can hear the cars positionally and behind and stuff like that. So there are games that are meant to have more than 2 speakers, but MAME does not currently support that, unfortunately. I did try and add multi-channel sound, but I couldn't get it to initialize anything, even though running the same code outside of MAME worked, which was a little bit confusing, I have to say. Right. I don't think there's any cows in this, but there is a farmyard. No, it probably wasn't the type of game people wanted in 1993. Height of your Street Fighter 2 sort of hype still going on and all that lot. It's quite loud, isn't it? Yeah, again, say MAME doesn't output more than 2 channels, so if Star Channel is meant to be 4 channel, it's only going to output 2 in MAME. I mean, MAME knows about the other speakers at every level apart from the... there you go, milk. There's a cow in the intro. But MAME knows about it at every level until the actual final output, when it can only mix down to stereo. PlayStation games in MAME are very dark in terms of colour, even when they're not meant to be. I think it's just I need to set the gamma high whenever I'm on PlayStation. Spot Goes to Hollywood is on my potential list, Extreme Rec. I've just got to try and balance out the, you know, consoles versus arcades a little bit. Don't want to spend too long on just consoles or too long on just arcades. You know, I think we get the idea. It's an intro. The game is called Sheep. You know this game just because it's called Sheep. Yeah, it's let's be you. I think a lot of people know this game because it's called Sheep, and they're just genuinely curious about it because it's called Sheep. Let's do that. Let's go. I can't think of any isometric fruit machines, Bob. I mean, most of them are non-video. And I can't think of any video ones that use isometric graphics. That would be kind of funky, but maybe not practical. So this is a sheep herding game. You literally herd sheep and try not to get them killed. Across the road. you can push these over. It feels like you should be able to push them over, but I don't know, apparently you can't. Well, I don't know how if you can. But although I will admit, I don't actually know much about this game. I think I even had this back in the day, but I don't know if I played much of it. If it was just one of those games that I had and thought, this is not the kind of game I was expecting to be playing. That's death to sheep, isn't it? Yeah, don't do that, and don't do that. So you chase the sheep around. Come on, sheep. Come on, little bar. That's okay, isn't it? There's little hints. Dead these sheep shearing machines ahead. We don't want to go near dead these sheep shearing machines. But yeah, it's quite unusual to see this type of game on the PlayStation getting a release outside of Japan, because a lot of the PlayStation stuff outside of Japan was strictly 3D, and this is very much isometric. Well, what we call isometric. Probably would have helped if I'd actually worked out where I was going first. At the moment I'm just, you know, guiding sheep around quite aimlessly, not knowing where I'm taking them. But, oh, I think that's it, isn't it? That's the truck. Don't go in that. No. Oh. That's bad. So, yeah. What are my buttons mapped to? They are all mapped. So I don't get it. How do I get to these other sheep? This is what I struggled with earlier when I tried playing this level. I don't know how to do this. Unless it's a copy protected game and I'm failing a copy protection check, I don't know how to push a domino over, and I feel like I should be able to push a domino over. So, you know, I can't charge into it. It's red for a reason. It's surely red for a reason. Yeah, so I'm going to try a different stage, because that's the same problem I had with that stage last time. I get to the... maybe... I mean, there's a training section, but I don't think it's going to tell me much. That's not got anything. So... and I can select a different level. I can select Barn Dance, because I didn't do this one before, did I? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, logically there should be a push domino over button, but unless I've got something badly mapped, I couldn't work it out. So now I've got to guide these ones around. Again, there's dominoes here. Oh yeah, you push them into it and it falls over. Okay, so I guess I just messed up the other level because how come they can knock it over? I can't. I don't know. So yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to use the sheep to save the sheep. So if you run out of sheep, you've got a problem on your hands. Get back on your feet. I mean, you know, I've heard of cow tipping, but apparently I'm sheep tipping. Although these look more like monkeys than sheep, so I don't know why I'm saying sheep. Because I'm fairly sure these aren't sheep. I mean, they're maybe meant to be sheep. Now they're dyed sheep. That's fine. It's fine. Now it's BeatHead. Oh, now they're chasing me, right. They like the music. They like the music? They did like music? There we go. Follow me. More of them, here. Oops. I'm painting the ground. But yeah, you do have to get them to the truck, which is somewhere. You must open it from the other side. Okay. Wait, I've already been here. Where is the end? Hold on. Is it up here? Are they permanently splattered? Yeah, they're just... We won't talk about what happened to them. Where's the exit? At the end of the level. That's the start. Oh, down there. Right, all the way down there. So, I've got to get them into the... Okay. Get to change colour again. Come here. Come here. Come here. Well, I set you free. How about that? So, here we go. Why is it not open? Why is it not open? What? Did I put you down? Nope. I'm not very good at this game. Is there a switch I'm missing? There probably is somewhere, isn't there? Ow. I did manage to complete a level on this earlier. I'm going to run out of time. Oh, what? I don't know. I ran out of time. The truck might be haunted. Well, I didn't want to go in the truck. It's quite a frustrating game as Sheep. With a bit of practice, it's actually more fun from what I remember. Because it's... Again, I think I owned it. But I think I didn't play it. But I think I enjoyed it. But I don't remember. But it's Farmyard, and there was a cow in the intro. Although I don't think a cow in the intro really counts for the cow stream. But yeah. Sheep. I think we're done with sheep. But yeah, it's interesting to see an isometric PlayStation game. And so I thought, you know, why not? There are a few more. I mean, there's like Front Mission First, which is a remake of Front Mission. I don't think I'll be playing that one today. I'm going to stick with the PlayStation, though, for one that's not isometric but is tilted. And this one's a little bit weird. The Nickelodeon movie Backyard. That's an interesting one, because that one was penciled in for the cow stream. Barnyard, that's the one. Warning, weird game. I mean, it's just a Japanese game. It is a slightly gross game, yes. Oh. A mix of lemmings and bubble ghost. Yeah, that's one way to describe sheep. This gives you anxiety. Well, it's a puzzle game. You move in a direction, the other thing moves in the same direction, or tries to, if it can. And you can only move... That doesn't get me anywhere. I'm going to run out of steps because... There we go. So you've got to trick the other thing into moving out your way, even though it moves in the same directions. Yeah, this isn't one to watch before breakfast. No, it's a very odd game. Now this one moves in the opposite direction. So if you move up, it moves down. Although, yeah. Yes, that is a slightly gross thing. I mean, Sony approved this. You have limited steps, so you've got to solve the puzzle in the limited steps you've got. Now, I'd say it's a very odd game, but, you know, Sony clearly thought this was appropriate. And let's be fair, who are we to argue with Sony? I don't know. It is a kind of gross game, isn't it? Yes. But it's also... Now, these ones move at an opposite angle to your movements, so this one's even trickier to solve. That one's now asleep. No. No, I'm going to say I'm not very good at this game. Like I say with a lot of games. I've got to try and get these out of here. I'm running out of steps now. That's not helpful. Yeah, I've run out of steps. Yeah, I mean, you're not in direct control of them. So that gets them up there. That gets that... that moves them back there, though. You're now asleep. Nope, failed this one. But yeah, if you like puzzle games and you're not too... So if you bump into that, you go to sleep, but that's not useful. That's incredibly... Oh, you can't go past the tile either. Okay. So close. There we go. Yeah, Echo Chrome is a bit out of the realm of MAME. I mean, PSP is even kind of out of the realm of MAME, unfortunately. What does this one do? Okay. So clearly I've messed this up now. How am I to do this one then? I messed up again. No. Oh no, I see. Not many real possibilities on that stage. Ren and Stimpy fans. I've never been a fan of Ren and Stimpy. Again, I don't really appreciate the humour. I am playing this because it's a puzzle game at an angle, and it's kind of an interesting puzzle game, if you ask me. But yeah, the humour doesn't really do anything for me either, personally. Okay, so that's always going to get me. Lovely. Anyway, we should probably move on, shouldn't we? I think you get the idea of a slightly gross PlayStation puzzle game at an angle that it's actually a pretty good game. I remember playing it years ago and getting a bit further and enjoying it. So yeah, it's one that is worth a look. Let's go back to arcades. I mean, it wouldn't really be an isometric stream if we didn't, would it? Yeah, there's not going to be any sound emulation because I don't have the samples installed and there's no emulation of the analog soundboard with the netlist system yet. Definitely one I look forward to actually having full sound emulation on. Yeah, it is a good little puzzle game, Bob. I don't know why they went for the whole gross theme, but it does make it a little more memorable. You know, when I was researching this stream, for some reason I remembered it as more of an isometric game than just a tilted one. But I remember playing it from years ago and thought, what was that PlayStation isometric puzzle game that was slightly gross? I say no sound on these because the analog soundboards are not emulated, and I don't like going the sample route. Just a personal thing. Yeah, very difficult to judge where anything is in this game, which is one of the issues with it. I think where a lot of the difficulty comes from is just that. It's how do you know what height anything? You know what height you are by the bar on the side, but where on earth? Oh, I'm running out of fuel. I forgot. We have a scramble-like mechanic for regaining fuel as well, don't we? Boom. You don't want to remember it. And there we have a game over. I've seen games that are a little more gross than that. It depends what you count as gross at. I mean, apparently the high scores have got stuck on the screen. That's not meant to happen. Did I seriously just glitch Zaxxon? I played Zaxxon 1,000 times before and never glitched Zaxxon, but apparently today I glitched Zaxxon. And that is literally just a text timer. I do not know what happened there. That might just be a game bug. I'll have to see how reproducible it is, because I never done that before. It's happened to you before. I wonder if it's always happened. I wonder if it happens on real hardware. There we go, it's gone now. Because it's quite unusual that things would get left on a text layer. It's not left over sprite, it is literally on the tile map. And it's going to be a very simple text layer, surely. Maybe it's one of those insert credits too quickly things. Get the height just, that's not the right height. Zaxxon is hard. Yeah. I don't know exactly what would trigger it. I was quite surprised. I'll have to see if I can reproduce it. But I have a feeling it might just be a bug in the game. Because there aren't many possibilities in terms of emulation issues for a Z80 based game that would cause that. Oh, what did I crash into this time? Yeah, there are different takes on this depending on the hardware capability. I'll be honest, I like the look of it. I find it just as difficult to play as anybody. I'm trying to avoid things and crashing into them, and yeah. Yeah, some games don't like the coin being held, so I can quickly... I mean, the coin thing is usually, you know, to stop people trying to cheat the coin mechanism on the game. So the coin error if you hold it down. Because a real coin would only ever be a pulse for a certain amount of time. And if it's more than that, it's possible somebody's, you know, got a coin on a string and trying to get some free credits out the game. And so they go, no, you will not do that. You are a cheat. Obviously, arcade operators were not huge fans of people getting free credits. Or, you know, just generally if the coin's stuck. I mean, coins can legitimately get stuck, in which case the machine does need to error out because somebody needs to fix it. Yeah, Zaxxon is hard. Super Zaxxon's even harder. Future Spy, I'm not sure about. I never really play Future Spy. Is Future Spy any good? I'm not sure. This is like, but what? How am I meant to know what height I'm meant to be unless I've tried every height and gone right? It's not there. It's above that one. Oh, now it's game over. Now I've forgotten what height I'm meant to be. So again, I can quickly insert coin and it's fine. So yeah, I'm not going to play too much of this one because it's one of those where you're just going to see me repeating the same section over and over again because I keep crashing. Now, I suppose you can potentially count the blocks and work out the height that way, but US exclusive Genesis port. It might have been a US exclusive, I don't know. I don't remember seeing it over here. Yes, Zaxxon. Zaxxon is hard. I suck at Zaxxon. We will move on to another Sega game on Zaxxon hardware. This is Congo Bongo. And again, we're faced with the same thing, I believe, where it needs samples if you want sound. So, oh no, they've got some sound this time, actually. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong on this one. This one does have some sound without samples. Although I think some sounds are missing still. Now this is kind of interesting because it's basically Sega's take on Donkey Kong, but with an isometric perspective. But you're still trying to get to the top of the level to get to a donkey. Or a, well, not donkey, a monkey. Why'd I say donkey? Monkey. It also reminds me a lot more of that Kong Man game, you know, the toy, because that had the depth to it where you're trying to climb up a tower, and that's what this one always reminds me of. Yes, it's not quite Donkey Kong, but you can't say that it wasn't influenced by Donkey Kong. You're still trying to get to the top and avoiding stuff. Of course, it's much harder. But yeah, even that bonus counter in the top left is very Donkey Kong-like. In fact, we might see another level on this at some point. Go, go, monkey. Yeah, you have to actually get the jumps right, otherwise that happens to you. Got to the top. decided to show my bum to anybody at the bottom who wants to take a photo. Oh, yeah, I forgot about those. Pay attention. Designed by Ikigami Shushinki. Shushinki, is that correct? Also did Super Zaxxon. Yeah, I mean, they've got this isometric style, so it kind of makes sense if they were done by the same person. That was probably what they wanted to go for. Yeah, I think it is just a stock font, but yes, it doesn't help distinguish it from Donkey Kong, does it? You don't jump up, you climb. Why do I keep trying to jump up? Anyway, I'd be better at this game if I played it properly, wouldn't I? I don't understand why I'm wearing a big red nose, to be honest. That's never really made much sense. I mean, am I a big Mr. Do fan? I'm trying to be a clown here. It's definitely Donkey Kong, isn't it, Cow? Definitely Donkey Kong. Also, welcome back, Cow. You've been very quiet. Did you see the cow in the intro of Sheep? Ha! Got you. Well, I didn't, because you just walked off. There's probably a legitimate reason for the red nose. Now I get to hide in holes. Look. I got a bonus life, didn't I? And I promptly died. Okay, I think you have to hide in holes. Yes, did Nintendo ever say anything about this game? It seems the kind of game that Nintendo would kick up a fuss about, but I've never read anything to that effect. Went back to making camera equipment. That's an unusual change of career, but I guess maybe they just decided games weren't for them. MAME 0.233 might be out. I think when Vass wakes up, he did ask for everybody to give a little check over of the what's new, see if there are any mistakes. I'm assuming if there aren't, it'll be packaged up and released. It looked alright to me. Well, I didn't look in any great detail. Oh, I'm failing on this level now. Almost on the 2-hour mark anyway. Which means there's another hour of slightly tilted games to play. Yeah, I think we've seen Congo Bongo, which is the isometric Donkey Kong by Sega. Sega also did this, up and down. Up and down. So this is slightly angled. It's a higher angle than necessarily isometric. And it's got a bit of a Rally X collect the flags thing going on. Also a bit of Indiana Jones minecart chase scene, but it combines those into its own thing. Not quite sure what that's called, up and down, but I guess because of the hills. But that's a bit of a push, I would say. Uh-oh. Maybe that's why you have to Sonic it. Oh yeah, you can do that, can't you? You can jump off the track. Don't do that. That is how you fail. Learn from what you just say. Music sounds like they liked Devo. The jump there and crash. Used to love this arcade game. Yeah, I think this one is underrated. It's got a very Namco feel to it rather than a Sega feel. Yeah, things rolling backwards into me. That might be why it's called up and down actually, because this whole way they roll back into you. I think the cherries there make it feel Namco-like too. Most Colour Dream fans tend not to know that. Sorry, I've lost track of some of the conversation that's been going on. We're still talking about companies that went into making cameras. Ice cream. Nah, I'm never going to learn. Jump over the cars if you're good enough. Oh, I thought I was going to get away with that one. ColecoVision. Of this, I've not played the ColecoVision. Again, that's maybe one I'll consider if I do another arcade ports stream. Because there are a lot of arcade ports. I always find them interesting to have a look at. Oh. Right, back to the start again. I jumped on the car. Oh, I got a full collection of flags. That's a very Pengo-like screen. Guessing this would have been probably developed by Corlan then. Just based on that screen alone. Oops. Yeah, you can back up if you need to. Jumping propels you forward though, so don't jump in situations like that. Even if you think you're going slowly, you go a mile forward, and that happens. Yeah, that Donkey Kong thing was in the news, wasn't it? I mean, Nintendo don't like to talk about it, but yeah, I have heard that before. I think they do own the rights now, don't they? Oh, that was close. So you've got the black flag. Maybe that's a legitimate strategy. Oops. So you've got to collect all the coloured flags, haven't you? That's the idea of this game. So you've got to get the green one there, so I've got to take that path at some point. You can't jump if you're going backwards. Right. It's coming back to me. Oh, the yellow was there. Oh, you can jump going backwards. Yeah. Nintendo have never been a fan of emulation, you know, the community projects. That's been a thing since the 90s. So, yeah, what is the best strategy on this then? Going slow or just continuing to go fast? I don't really know. Yeah, they have all their own emulation services, but again, a lot of time you can't buy unmodified versions of the games. Ahem. I don't know if the Virtual Console has final lap. Namco System 2 is quite an advanced one to emulate, but up and down, where you go up and down hills in quite a fancy perspective, where I still don't know if going backwards is a good idea, but you've got to collect all the flags, and yeah. Okay. Here's a nice fun one. Genesis with 32X attachment, which is not considered a slot device. A Zaxxon sequel called Zaxxon's Motherbase 2000. Now apparently there was actually a European release of this, which is meant to be different but isn't dumped. Anyway, this was a Zaxxon sequel for the 32X, and it's a bit more Viewpoint than Zaxxon, really. Licensing old games is actually really tricky, Extreme Rec, so the pace often has to be slow unless it's stuff that Nintendo absolutely own themselves. But even then, they have to, you know, check music rights, all sorts of other stuff. It's quite difficult. I mean, you know, one of the things with the Game & Watch units, which they found out back in the day, you know, the Mario Cement Factory, one of the versions, has got a little tune that is far too close to Queen's Another One Bites the Dust. So they had to change it. And then they re-released it, but the re-released version is not emulated. It's probably only got a different melody ROM inside it, but it's still a unique one that needs emulating at some point. So yeah, this is kind of ugly. Very low poly 3D models, dull pre-rendered backgrounds. Yeah, Viewpoint's obviously a better game. Although if you had a 32X, you know, if you were unlucky enough to have spent a lot of money on a 32X and wanted some games to play, there were definitely worse games on the 32X than this one. It's actually playable, unlike a fair bit of the library. I mean, Give me the choice of this or say the Bubsy game, Brutal game. I'd take this every time. Let's jump into the ship here. Now we've got a insecty ship, which is kind of cool. Probably not making the most use of the hardware. I think it's only this 3D overlay that's on the 32X from memory. I think the background's all done on the Genesis hardware. So it's like sprites on the 32X, backgrounds on the Genesis, which makes sense. Big roboty boss. Hello. Oh, no, I want to get back in oh, thank you. Don't really know where your weak points are though, unfortunately. Maybe if I just keep shooting. Ooh. Again, quite Viewpoint with the set plays, isn't it? Again, I think they played more Viewpoint than Zaxxon when making this, because this has very little to do with Zaxxon. Yes, the 32X is very poorly designed and a complete waste of hardware. You mean, oops. You've got those SH2s that are running massively slower than the actual clock speed because of all the wait states. And you've just got a frame buffer and not enough power to really draw a full screen worth of pixels to it. And then you can't mix it very well because it's just like an overlay or underlay, and you can't. That's why a lot of the 32X ports are worse than the regular Mega Drive versions. It's a bit of a nightmare to actually do anything good with. I guess I meant to go through its legs at that point, aren't I? To be fair, there are a few impressive looking 32X games. The Doom ports are all bad. It is obviously scaled back and the music's kind of awful. But otherwise it's okay. That Dark Side Asteroids thing from Frontier, it's not too bad. The Chaotix Knuckles is a bit of a mess, to be fair. It's got style, but it's not fun. The R-Zone, the Tiger knew the the real low-end budget market. But yeah, when your product is a copy of a Virtual Boy, want this one instead. I do like the hopping in and out of the ship's mechanic in this, actually. That's kind of good. No charge shot though. Also, I've realised I'm back at the start of the stage. I'll probably have a little look at Viewpoint after this, actually. But yeah, if you like Viewpoint and you've played Viewpoint to death, then yeah, it might be worth giving this one a try. It does offer something that Viewpoint doesn't. Laser ship. There we go. You can't hop in and out ships in Viewpoint, can you? The Tiger stuff was cheap, and you know it was relying on people buying them as birthday presents and Christmas presents just because they knew that somebody had an interest in a specific thing. I mean, you know, you can probably still sell them today. You know, oh, there are still LCD games you can buy today. You know, they're in some of the cheap stores that sell all sorts of junk. There was some in Poundland some years back. It's like, okay. Oh, that was a fail. Viewpoint is, I think, yeah, I mean, Viewpoint is kind of difficult. Any isometric game, the problem, it's the same with a lot of isometric games. You want to like them, but the Viewpoint does make them more difficult. And Viewpoint is isometric. You're trying to process something extra. At least you're not processing height on this one like you have to on Zaxxon. But you still have to process the angle. I'm not going to play too much more of this one anyway. When I game over here, which will be shortly, we will move on. Oh, that was a bit unfair. I've just got my pea shooter now, unfortunately. I do like the little animations your ship has. It does look like a little insect of sorts, doesn't it? But again, what's it got to do with Zaxxon? They're literally just calling this Zaxxon because it's an isometric game, aren't they? It doesn't seem to have anything else in common. Gameboy's a bigger initial investment, and some people just wanted cheap. Oh dear. It's the same reason people buy things like Raspberry Pis and want to run emulators on them. It's like, yeah, you could buy some decent hardware, but that's more expensive, so they just go, yeah, I want to buy a Pi and I want to run MAME on it, and it doesn't work very well. That mindset that led to Tiger stuff being popular is still very much alive. Apparently it was called Parasquad in Japan. So did anybody in Japan have a 32X? I guess they must have, but I don't know. I like some of my LCD games that I've got. I've got one here. Nice fun little game. Got another one, but the battery's not in it. No, there you go. No battery in this one though. They're a bit of fun. Anyway, that was Zaxxon's Motherbase 2000. It's I think it's probably not all that bad. Probably one of the better 32X games. Anyway, I said I'd look at Viewpoint, so let's have a look at the X68K version of Viewpoint, which Carl did just fix a bug in, but it might be a recently introduced bug because it seems to be to do with the DMA stalling the CPU and uninstalling it on illegal DMAs, and there were some changes related to that recently. I know. There's just been a lot of, especially audio improvements since the builds that Pi 3 will run, though, Mick. And if you're used to the better emulation, it's very difficult to go back to anything that does run on a Pi 3, at least for me. Anyway, let's play a bit of Viewpoint. Now, this did crash when you respawned before, which was the DMA issue. It should be fixed. Takes a little bit of time to load by the looks of it though. There we go. A little bit of a less crunchy rendition of the original soundtrack, which had a bit more power to it. This is a slightly weak version of it. It still has the soundtrack. It's a somewhat downgraded version of the game, but it's still pretty decent. I think it's probably better than the Mega Drive port, although I've not played it extensively. I don't think a Pi's running Racing Force, but yeah, that was odd. I mean, it must have been like a bug in the NVIDIA drive or something like that to take down a PC, because nothing in user space should be able to blue screen, the hardware. But Racing Force, at least in older versions of MAME, when it crashed anyway, would quite often take down Windows 10 with it, which was somewhat concerning. I think the actual crashes in MAME have been fixed, the code's been made a bit safer. But yeah, it shouldn't have been happening. I mean, it's not the only time I've seen a program able to take down the operating system, but it shouldn't happen. I wonder if the explosions are the correct colour here. They look a bit odd, but maybe that's just because of the reduced palette. Yeah, blue explosions? Not sure. Yeah, the Genesis version has a lot of slowdowns from what I remember. I wonder if they just ported the original Neo Geo code or if they rewrote it. There's got to be slowdown here. It's not free. Oh, that was stupid. It's not free of slowdown. This one. Okay. No, it does not support G-Sync or FreeSync, so you can't get the perfect refresh rates. That is true, Bob. Yeah, I'm going to have to see if there's a video of this on real hardware to see if the explosions are meant to be these odd colours or not. Because they look a little bit out of place. I'm not going to lie. And then worse this time than first time. Wrecked, I believe they would say. Oh yeah, I do have that one. No, not just July. It's going to be Jules or Junk, I think. Jewel or Junk. Where I ask you, the people of the chat, the people of the stream who are watching, if they think a game is good or bad. And then I put it in a little list. At the end of July we go, right, these are the good games. And these were the bad games, and we played the bad ones. Or maybe we played the good ones. I don't know. Hey Christian, welcome. I hope you're doing well. Just badly programmed game. I mean, some perfectly good games are badly programmed. It's very hard to say. I mean, look at Metal Slug 2. That's got some major programming flaws. In fact, most of the Metal Slug games aren't that well programmed, but they're still good games. Oh. Dear. Nope, it's just loading, is it? Okay, it pauses to load a boss in the middle of the level. I'm reminded of Magnet System. It would be nice if it said loading on the screen. Now I'm going back to start the level, aren't I? Right. Yeah, it's sent me back to the start. At least now I know it loads the bosses in the middle of the level and pauses while it does so. I suppose if you've got the game hard drive installed, that might be faster. But I'm running it from floppy. Yeah. Anyway, Viewpoint for the X68K. It's not an awful port. It's actually quite a playable port, and it seems to have less slowdown than the Mega Drive version. Although, as you just saw, it also has some loading. Pardon me. Yeah, it happens too often as well, Bob. There's quite a lot of games like that, even on current generations or previous generation at least. People just don't have time to optimize or get too ambitious, and it all falls apart. Anyway, where are we going? We're going to go with some fire. This is by Woodplace, licensed to Data East. And this is another one of those crazy climber type games with twin sticks, which is going to be an absolute pain to play. So, 100 climbing. 100 climbing will do fine. You can climb with just the one hand, that's fine. Playing on the pad is not fun though. Hold on. What are my controls here? So yeah, interestingly this one is by Woodplace, as I say, licensed to Data East. Not Nichiwatsu. But you can tell it's very much influenced by Crazy Climber. Except now we're climbing the burning building. And this apparently was not Data East's first attempt at such a game. But their other attempt is The Tower, which was a cassette system game that is not dumped. I'd be curious to see what The Tower is like, if it ever does get dumped, although at this point I'm not that optimistic we'll see more of the cassette games. It's becoming increasingly unlikely. Okay, why is the car on top of the building in the first place? Questions must be asked. This does not look like a multi-story car park, so somebody must have specifically taken a car up the top of the building. And you're the only person who matters. You have bravely fought the fire. Extinguished with... So just like, you know, the rock climber, you get a little going down challenge too. Although, yeah, you do have to question where did the jetpack come from, and why didn't I just fly up there with it? Yeah, there's definitely must be a connection between the two Aussie guys. So if they're both done by Jordan, that would make sense. There's just two similar. Obviously, the controls on this are quite a bit easy. You can just play it with one joystick, as you can see, which is what I'm doing. I'm not even using the second joystick. But it's still very obviously a Crazy Climber with fire and a slight isometric type perspective, which is why it's on the stream. But it's a much more forgiving version of the game. This is actually pretty easy to play compared to actual Crazy Climber or Rock Climber. And someone's got a tile all the way up this tower. I think people are hoarding things. Yeah, Woodplace had some interesting games. I mean, I like The Deep, Run Deep. They did that too. Or at least they published it. Again, maybe it was developed by somebody else. Who knows? Oh dear, I fell off the tower. The jetpack is programmed by a jerk. It must be. Or, you know, there's some health and safety regulations which state you can't fly up a tower with a jetpack, only down it. Or maybe it's just not powerful enough to actually lift you up, which is a quite bad jetpack. I don't know. I mean, you do only go down on the jetpack. But, you know, somebody was nice enough to leave a mattress down there. So again, I don't know why she doesn't just jump. I mean, it's obviously perfectly safe. As I just proved, you land on a mattress, nice and safe. But instead I have to climb this stupid tower to go and rescue her. None of this game really makes sense. Also, much like rock climber, I appear to have to fight something that looks like the sun, or a mini sun as I'm climbing up. Free fall! Look, I'm keeping you away from the tower. It's scary and dangerous. I've lost my keys. There we go. Why do the window designs become more elaborate? I mean, do people on some floors just not like windows, or some of these bigger apartments? Again, many questions. Also, what happened to this part of the tower? There's like half the building missing. Oops. Smurfs Dance Party. I've not played Smurfs Dance Party. Hi, dog. Oops. Again, people have got giant bowling pins up here. It's like, seriously, what are people been buying? Go on, good boy. There you go. Oh dear. You never catch fire either, you just fall off. It's almost as if the fire isn't the real danger here. Alright, yeah, I don't want to think too much about that on the stream because I'll just end up getting upset puds. But yeah, that's definitely the not so nice news of the week. Okay. Some collector in Japan might have the cassette, Bob, but collectors in Japan don't always want to share. Anyway, what shall we do next? Shall we stick with arcade? I think we'll stick with arcade. Got about half an hour left. Lightbringer. This is the export version of the game. I want to sound test it. Oh, there's two. Let's have some more light on here. There we go. Yeah, Robot Monsters is a possibility. Lord Dalek. I think this is still quite cool. Oh no, we've got a bit more volume now. Suddenly volume. Japan's got some quite messed up laws about ownership and the like. Yes, Extreme Rec. And even selling used media and save games and all sorts of stuff. You pull some strings. I have a candle. So yeah, one of the criticisms this game gets is that while the view is isometric, the gameplay has you only attacking left and right. So it's a mix of an isometric view and gameplay that's not isometric. Which is kind of awkward. But yeah, I mean, sometimes when we've been buying up media in Japan, say used cartridges, the Kara stuff, they've been pulled from the listings because, you know, they might contain songs that have been downloaded and you're not allowed to sell that kind of thing. Something like that. I don't know. Or they have to be sold as blank, and if they look like they've been opened, then the auction sites are like, might have something on it, can't sell it. Yeah, I've got one or two dumped with stuff from the download service on, but that download service is long gone. Okay, I turned into a bunny. That's not too useful. Yeah, it's not the only isometric beat 'em up either. Data East have Dark Seal 2, which is kind of similar. Nice mimics. I think I'm poisoned. Yeah. It's got some slightly RPG-like elements to it, this as well. It's called Madbox. Not Mimic, Madbox. Which way do I go? So it showed me a map at the start, so kind of shows you the different paths you can take. Yeah, you're limited in where you can go, and your movement's quite limited by the view. Oh, I can't jump on them. Oh, I can jump on them. There we go. Oh, I could just go this way. I don't know. You can fly with me. You're probably friendly. No, I want the shield. I mean, the laws aren't great anywhere. Extreme Rec, they don't consider things that really have no market value anymore. You know, you can't really say European laws or American laws are that much better. They've got their problems. They're just different levels of bad and different punishments. Yes, that's my special attack, you see. But yeah, it's just a hack and slash, which is... It looks nice, but it's not the best to play. You get these weapons that you end up... They don't last very long. Look, it's already flashing. So I'm not going to get any more shots at this. There we go, it's gone. Nothing lasts very long. Then you pick one other thing up, you drop your weapon. Trap room. That's a bit mean. Conveyor belts. I'm level 2 now. I've got to navigate these spikes. But that happens. Right, do I turn them off? Is that it? Just one of these turn it off. And then I'm dying again. No, none of them turn it off. What's going on here? Well, there we go. I'm out of the room. Giant snake. And this is one of the other issues. You can't attack the snake very easily because it's on the ground and you don't have a proper ground attack except your special attack that drains your own health. You know, it kind of starts to fall apart at this point. I got snaked. Again, nice animations. At this point, the game is kind of horrible. I don't remember snakes making that noise. But stop, we are the room guarders. So it said doom guarders. You are guarding copies of Doom. Which people might play it and realise it's a better game than this. Yeah, I want to like this one, but it's not much fun to play. At least I don't find it fun to play. Probably a switch somewhere. Or not. No, just. I don't know. Okay, there's different routes. See, I like the multiple routes. Oh. It's not as bad as, say, Knights of Valor 3, which tried to do similar. At least this is, this is designed so that if you're good at it, you can probably do quite well. But maybe the whole design doesn't really work for arcade games that well. I like Splatterhouse 3 on the Mega Drive that's got this go from room to room, explore while you get to the end of the level. So yeah, this wasn't the route to the boss, unfortunately. This is just a route that takes me around in circles. Anyway, I think we've seen enough of this. Let me just jump off of here. Apparently that doesn't kill you. So let's just quit the game. I've got a whole list of Amstrad CPC games for this stream because there's a lot of good Amstrad CPC games that are isometric, and I've not played any of them yet. Got a bunch of Game Boy Advance games that I've not played any of yet. The list is very long. So I might have to revisit this theme another time. We've got an MSX game on here. I did say I'd play. What did I say I'd play? I'm trying to think of ones that I said I'd play when people requested them. I remember one. I definitely said I would play. Is this region locked? This is going to run on Genesis. Let's see. It should run. So, this is a rare game. One of the few rare games on the Mega Drive. Now, I maybe should be running this on the European Mega Drive. I've selected a NTSC model. It might run slightly too fast. I don't know how, if it's coded to compensate. Just seem a little faster. Woo. But, yes, very good looking game this. I've not been very good at it. Give me my body parts. There we go. So you collect your little snaky parts and become a better snake. Yeah, I've got 3 parts of my body now. Not enough. Now you have to get to the top of the mountain, which I can't remember exactly how to do anymore. I know I used to get further. I think you have to get a certain length and then jump on that thing. There we go. That opens up that, and we go in there. Rares have always been a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, the arcade, some of the Ashby arcade games weren't great. I mean, they did Dingo. Was it YAMACO? It was Ashby, and that's not great. It's very generic. But, yeah, I mean, you get good games, you get bad games. So, as somebody who didn't really grow up with Nintendo, my experience of rare stuff is a bit more limited. I mean, personally, I really don't like Killer Instinct, but a lot of people love that one. Ooh, don't want to be in the water. This is a really good looking isometric game, and yeah, obviously Rare were known for the isometric games on the Spectrum, Night Laws and the like, Gunfight, some very good ones. Maybe not the best isometric games on the Spectrum. I mean, I think games like The Great Escape were far more ambitious. No. I'm not long enough now. Jumping in the water. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate on this now and doing a bad job of doing that. I forgot how to get up there. How do you get up there? Oh, you jump up there, don't you? Okay, yeah, I've got it. Got it. You go round. So it's the perspective that's got me. That does sometimes happen with isometric games, unfortunately. 2 left, 2 credits. Why people tend to love them or hate them. There we go, that's now open, and I can go back around and actually jump up there. So high up the tower. Yeah, Zilek and Rare did stuff for Jellicoe. as Ashby again, not as rare. Anyway, I think you get the idea of this one. We are running out of time. There's 10 minutes left on the stream, so we had a look at that one, and that is definitely one that is absolutely, you know, if you want to play a good Mega Drive game, that one you should definitely have a look at. It's a fantastic little game and looks great, plays great. It looks like it only got released in Europe, but that might mean some of the US viewers may not be aware of it. I'm not sure. I mean, it's rare, so probably are. Okay, another one that was suggested on Twitter. This is for the NES, and this is Isolated Warrior. Probably not going to bounce around that much, but again, not really isometric, but a bit of a tilt to the view. So, walk along robot shooter with some pretty good graphics. Jump, drop, jump, and shoot. It did come out. It came out for the NES. Yeah, I know it was on the NES, but obviously the Mega Drive version looks a lot better than the NES version because of the better hardware. I assume it plays just as well. I've never really spent any time playing the NES version. But, you know, the Mega Drive version feels like a well-programmed, competent game. So there's no real reason for me to think it's going to be vastly inferior to a NES version. Bouncy IO-cubal touchscreen. Yeah, I mean some of these did have slightly bouncy rasters on real hardware in certain cases, but yeah, MAME's rasters are kind of off, and it shows at times, doesn't it? I don't like this shot. It doesn't go straight. It's a spread shot with no straight part. Your bullets must be 2 meters apart at all times. There's also obviously a line cut off at the bottom, which again is probably a raster bug, because there's no bottom of the words there, so it says "iable." Again, rasters being off by a line would do that if the split position is wrong. One day maybe MAME will have NES emulation that is completely solid and holds up to all challenges, but not yet. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody's come along and just done a perfect implementation, because it's really well documented, but people always seem to want to do their own NES emulators, which is why we've got thousands of the things. But that means everybody has to re-implement everything, and I don't know. Does it not make more sense just to, you know, improve the main one? When you can shoot straight, it's a bit easier. I say that, and I die. No, I don't want that two-way gun again. That's a really annoying gun. I will call it the social distancing gun. Unfortunately, it's the W, isn't it? So L is just this. It doesn't seem to power. Oh, no, that's not the shot type. I don't know. Now I'm confused. I thought the W would have been that weapon. I may be at risk of getting it without wanting it. That's a shield. You see, the NES could do kind of isometric games too. in shooters. It's kind of like Viewpoint, but at a higher angle, and not actually isometric. But, you know, you could have done a Viewpoint point a bit like this and just switched it around a bit. Yeah, let's see where we continue. Continue. No, that's not true. Remember Nesticle? I do. Not the best NES emulation in the world, but one of those that provided a solid interface, which worked for a lot of people. Back before things were Windows based. Trying to do a Windows version of it, I think that didn't really work, did it? Uh-oh. I got that shot again. I still don't always think I picked up. So I'm back here with the same shot. Yeah, I think we'll move on from that because I'm just going to get to the same boss with the same shot again. And yeah, Bloodlust, Callus. Again, it was good for the time. It's quickly superseded, really. It does probably. I think it runs Street Fighter Turbo at the correct speed, but that's not because it emulates the wait states. That's just probably because it underclocks the CPU, which is kind of the cheating way of doing it. I did want to play Steam Gear Mash on the Saturn, but that just crashes MAME, unfortunately, so we can't do Steam Gear Mash on the Saturn. One thing we can do, and this... Did we want to do that? This might crash MAME. It kind of fails if you leave the intro running, but yeah, let's have a brief look at it. Yeah. So I seem to remember if you let the intro run, it might hang, but we'll let the intro run and see if it hangs. Lots of things crash in MAME. Saturn emulation is definitely not perfect. Doesn't really look like a Bomberman game yet. Rhubarb. MAME is just a work in progress. I mean, everything is waiting for somebody to improve it. The work, the people doing Saturn Driver haven't touched it in a while, so it remains as it was. A lot of research was done, a lot of things were discovered, and it's probably time to start again with it, with the current knowledge. So is it going to load into the game? I don't think it does. No, you see it hangs there, but I seem to remember if I go all mashy and don't let it play the intro, mashy. There we go. People just work on whatever they want to. You can't force somebody to work on something. analog controls are really bad for Saturn, so let's just go up, down, left, right, and be done with it. So I can actually select what I want. Hopefully you press the right button, doesn't it? Everything feeds into a system of improving other things. I mean, the Saturn improvements helped with the STV arcade hardware. They helped improve SH2 emulation bugs. The SH2 core forms the basis of the SH3-4 core that's used for things like the the cave games, Naomi. It all connects together, so anything that leads to improvements in one area is helpful. I'd like to get to the bottom of why some of the 32X games like Virtua Racing crash, because that could potentially be edge case SH2 bugs lurking, because they were tended to be handcrafted code. So yeah, this kind of reminds me more of something like Power Stone than Bomberman, to be quite honest. You are fighting against the other players by throwing bombs around, rather than it being a traditional Bomberman game. Well, very easy to lose where you are, unfortunately, because everything is quite small. That's not where I wanted to be stood. That was a big bomb. It is a little like Butter-san. I don't really get that feeling when I'm playing it, but yeah, you are throwing bombs around, so I guess there is that. But in Butter-san, the bombs are already there, and you kind of pick them up and throw them around. They've got timers on them, so you know when they're all going to explode. In this case, you're just throwing bombs. It's not quite the same. I think one of the issues with the Jaguar CD is they use what should have been the error correction sectors, the error correction areas, as data. So you get CDs with absolutely no error correction on, which is not good. Like you design a CD format, the error correction and subdata is there for a reason. It's not there so you can store more bad FMV on the CD. It's there so that if there's an issue, there's a chance of it actually, still working. I did the same thing again, didn't I? I stood in the middle of a bomb. Apparently I stood too close to the bomb again. I'm not very good at this one. I seem to say that a lot. That's probably my catchphrase. I'm not very good at this game. Not as bad as the Hyperscan though, Extreme Wreck. Not as bad as the Hyperscan. Yeah, and they're multi-session discs as well, aren't they, RO9, which means they're awkward format for dumping in that sense. So a lot of programs didn't work too well in multi-session, including MAME CHD. That doesn't really support multi-session well, which is a bit of a problem. Which is why there's not a CHD list for Jaguar CD at all. Because you can't make working images, well, you can't make images that don't lose half the data. Yeah, it's far too easy to lose where you are in this game because everything's so small. and also it's very difficult to see where the monkey is because the monkey's brown, levels brown and green, and I suppose if you played it enough you'd get used to it, but I can see why I don't see many people going out of the way to play this one. Okay. I don't know why you think hand coding the games is bad, Extreme Rec. I mean, it's if you're talking about hand coded assembly, it happened. Still happened in the PS2 era. For some PS2 games, they were literally programmed. You know, the CPU used was programmed on spreadsheets to get all the timing right. You had to know when every single operation was going to finish and when it was going to finish and sync everything up. And yeah, people had spreadsheets of timings for PlayStation 2 games. But that's not generally considered bad programming. That's considered, you know, an advanced technique. Yeah, I'm not very good at Bomberman. Not this Bomberman, so we'll move on. Or maybe we'll just end the stream actually, because we are over the 3-hour mark. We are 6-7 minutes now over the 3-hour mark. And these streams are meant to be 3 hours long. So yes, there are plenty of games I have not managed to cover, unfortunately. It might be that I start July with another one of those. These are the things that I really wanted to cover and didn't get around to covering in June streams, like I did at the start of the months. The cow stream, I don't know when that's coming up, but yeah, there's definitely going to be a cow stream of sorts. Yes, the PS2. To get the full power out of the PS2, you had to really know your stuff, and you did have to hand code stuff. I say that's not bad programming. That is, that's a high level programming, and that's how some of the most impressive games were created. I think it's the same with some PS3 stuff actually. That was very carefully coded, because to get the maximum out of that, again, you have to code it really well. The Nihon stuff as well. Tempest 3000 is it on that? Again, you've got processors that have to run where the code is designed to run in step by step. July stream. July cannot be just cow. Okay, that would be silly. There aren't enough cow games. I might allow cow some requests on the cow stream if cow is around, although I have a feeling I know exactly what cow will request. It's got a lap and it's got a final in the title. And maybe a number. But yes, thank you everybody. It's been a good. It's been a quieter stream, but that's all right. I mean, I've been able to read the chat and catch up with most of the chat, and don't feel like I missed too much. I like the busy ones as well, where everybody's chatting, but I also sometimes like the quieter ones too. And yeah, it's just a shame. There's so many games in this list I wanted to play that didn't get around to. So I've got like about 10 Amstrad CPC games, some Spectrum games, more SNES games. There are a lot of isometric or angled games. But sometimes that's what happens. I'd say I didn't even play a lot of the ones that were requested that I would have liked to, but you got to see a fair few. So I will hopefully catch you all next time, and I hope you enjoy what's left of your week. And I hope we're not having to deal with any more bad news, because it's been a bit of a rough week, as was mentioned briefly. So I don't want to really focus on the negatives of the week, because they're kind of upsetting. But yeah, this is it's helped a little bit. I say it does usually help. You know, something positive to focus on. So again, I'll catch you next week, and thank you for being here. Thank you for the lovely conversation. And with that, I will end this stream.